Rated mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast.
Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the podcast, guys. We got a lot to talk about today on the podcast. I want to get into this topic here that, that just confused Joe, just doesn't seem to understand, right? Joe Biden doesn't seem to understand this, that, there's always going to be, public health scares, pandemics, whatever the hell you want to call them. But this COVID vaccine mandates, right? He was pressuring it back in September through early October of last year of 2021, and he's still pressuring the damn vaccine. When is he going to understand that, this vaccine is not working? It's not working. They're coming out with booster shots after booster shots, and are they working, folks? Are they slowing the spread? Right? Remember when we had to go for 2 weeks and everything? Oh, don't worry, folks. We just have 2 weeks, and everything will be back to normal. Guys, we're 3 years into this crap. 3 years, yeah. We're 2022. This all started back in late of 2019. But Biden said that unvaccinated people are hindering economic growth, costing jobs, and putting unnecessary strain on the healthcare system. Oh, yeah. Yeah, more lies from this president. But according to Joe, he knows about health and science, right? Yeah. His own administration are tippy-toeing on the issue every single day, including his press secretary, Jen Psaki. But according to the latest story here now, that now nearly 2.4 million people have already gotten their third shot since this past August of last year, when the CDC cleared them for people with compromised immune systems, right? Guys, I can tell you what's being compromised here. These shots, folks, are not working. These vaccines are not working. So, what's going to happen now? Well, the Biden administration, I can tell you what's going to happen, folks. We're going to get into times where they're going to basically, the administration's going to go into desperation mode. They're desperate, folks. The midterms are coming up. We got another 2 years before the general election. They're desperate, folks. They're going to do anything. I'm even told that Biden now is thinking about doing another lockdown. But this lockdown, they're thinking about locking down the unvaccinated, right? They want to put them in, they want to keep them in their houses, almost like modern day concentration camps, right? I mean, that's Folks, you talk about some dangerous times. We're heading down those paths here in our country. Check this video out here. President Biden, literally refusal to get vaccinated has cost all of us. This was a video not too long ago, believe it or not. Check this out, guys. This is Biden blaming unvaccinated Americans for slowing down the U.S. economic recovery, accusing some elected officials for actively trying to undermine the administration's efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. As I'm waiting for this video to load, I'm having some network problems here. We'll wait for it to load. As it plays here, I'll basically allow it to play. But basically, Biden's comments came after the Center for Disease. Oh, here it is, right here, guys.
Some scheduled comments on the COVID vaccine response.
Okay, as it's loading up here, Biden's comments, folks, basically came hours after the CDC approved of the distributing Pfizer and BioNTech's booster shots for roughly 60 million. This was this past October. The video's a little, little old, but
3, keep children safe and schools open. 4, increase testing and masking. 5, protect our economic recovery. And 6, improve the care for people with COVID-19. Now, we've made important progress on each front. And this week, as planned, we took a key step in protecting the vaccinated with booster shots, which our top government doctors believe provides the highest level of protection available to date. The Food and Drug Administration.
Stop it. The Supreme Court literally just blocked now the vaccine mandates that Biden is trying to infiltrate on big companies towards their employees. The Supreme Court's decision on the vaccine requirements, they blocked it. It's unconstitutional. Like I said, folks, this president is going to go into desperation mode because this is their baby. This is their political weapon, COVID, and they're using it on the American people. A statement here just came just the other day, actually, from the president himself. And you can check this out, guys. This is on the whitehouse.gov website. Statement by President Joe Biden on the U.S. Supreme Court's decision on vaccine requirements. It says that my administration began to institute vaccination requirements last July, when after months of making vaccines free and widely available, 90 million Americans were still unvaccinated. Today, that number is down to under 35 million. These vaccine requirements apply to members of armed forces, federal workers, and contractors, healthcare workers, employees in large firms, basically meaning big box retailers, such as Walmart, Amazon, and such. Basically, in the statement also says that had my administration not put vaccination requirements in place, we would be now experiencing a higher death toll from COVID-19 and even more hospitalizations. Folks, I can go into the rest of the statement here that the president made. What are we to believe? You got to listen to this one, folks. This one's a doozer here. I want to get into this story here before I take a break. That Democrats are now trying to salvage Biden's presidency because have you checked the poll numbers, folks? Oh, he's getting down in the teens. I think he's polling like a 23, 21% now. And and a lot of polling agencies. Folks, we're a year into the Biden presidency, and the historic moment for broad-scale change has come, and it's probably gone. The Democrats are deflated. Dreams of addressing society's unmet needs are elsewhere, like strengthening the social safety net and addressing climate change, have been pared down and postponed. Now, folks, they're getting into these voting rights, right? Did we see that this past week? Kamala Harris basically, with Joe Biden, I think it was about a week and a half ago, they were in Atlanta, Georgia, talking about the new voting laws that are going in effect. The American Freedom Act vote. Is that how it is? No, it's the American Freedom Act of Voting. I think that's what it's called. That are compromised. And basically promises of change have been shelved, at least for now. But the reality, folks, is here. The time for wishful thinking is over, and the Democrats don't have the votes in the Senate to pass that voting right bill, or the expansive Build Back Better crap that Joe's trying to basically pass in the spending bill that they've spent months debating among themselves. Months. Remember that Build Back Better / Green New Deal shit that we've been hearing for months? We need to build back better, build back better. Build back better again. Right? I mean, seriously. But the Democrats can do their part to salvage the Biden presidency by doing these three things. And I'm going to go into what they're going to try to do, folks, because this is where it's coming from here. This is what I'm getting at. First, they're going to try to reach out to Republican Senator Mitt Romney, the GOP's one-time standard bearer, and then take him up on his offer to modernize the 1887 Electoral Count Act, also known as ECA. That's the first attempt they're going to do. Okay? Next, they're going to try to move quickly to steal the bipartisan deal on the domestic manufacturing of desperately needed semiconductor chips. Right? I haven't seen that in the radar. That's probably going to be coming back, folks. And then finally, the Dems are going to try to figure out what a certain moderate Democratic senator from West Virginia will allow in the BBB. And as a Democratic pollster, Stan Greenberg put it, sign whatever deal Joe Manchin will go for, and then go sell it like crazy to the public. Folks, this is what I'm hearing that the Democrats are ready to do. Because they're ready to unite around anything Biden can get from Manchin. I mean, seriously, the Democrats, folks, are at least they're last to reconcile to reality. They're trying to reconcile to the reality of what's left in the Biden administration. Right? They're trying to propose that $1.8 trillion package, which in those policies, if adopted, folks, would have put him to the left of where Barack Obama was as president. Remember that, folks? This is all going back to the Obama presidency. Folks, also, too, this electoral vote bill that they're trying to do, which is not being said in the general media, what it would do, folks, get a cup of coffee, because this is going to need it here. Hold on, guys. Good stuff. What this electoral vote count would do, folks, would reform and take a huge step toward greater technology competitiveness with China. That's basically what they want to do. They want the competitiveness on the technology market with China. It's always been about China. China, 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 China. I mean, that's if the Democrats play their cards right? I mean, they can help Biden earn a couple more victories and thereby restore some luster to the Biden presidency, right, folks? But the White House, folks, I mean, they're going to have the muscle back in order to do all this. Because the Biden presidency is showing lots of weakness. And the Democrats know it. The Dems know that they're going to lose in the midterms. So what is Joe Biden doing? Well, he's getting desperate now for anything. And that's what we're seeing, folks. Got a lot more. We'll be right back after these words. Don't go anywhere. Patriot Unfiltered Raw. Hey folks, Mike from the Patriot Angle Podcast. This episode today is brought to you by our good friends at Matchmaker.fm. Check Matchmaker.fm out today. Folks, they are a platform not only for searching for podcasts and other political podcasts such as sports, conservative, just about any type of podcast you could find is on Matchmaker.fm. What's also great about Matchmaker.fm is if you are a podcast host, you can connect with other hosts and other profiles on that site, not only to basically match up with your next perfect guest that you might want to bring on your next episode, but it also basically brings out more revenue to your podcast. So check out, guys, Matchmaker.fm. And don't forget that you heard that on the Patriot Angle Podcast.
Not so good. But few could have imagined that he would be such a disaster for this country, what they've done. Inflation is the worst it's been in 40 years. Gas prices are up 50%. The grocery shelves, the department store shelves, they're empty. You had an excuse not to buy Christmas gifts. You say to your loved one, darling, I'm sorry, I love you very much, but I just can't. There's no merchandise in Tiffany. I wanted to buy the most beautiful ring, but they don't have any rings anymore. Nobody has anything. We never even heard the term supply chain. You know, if you talk supply chain, is not something that we even talked about, and that's what happened. And it's a very sad thing. The streets of the Democrat-run cities are drenched in blood with record-high murders and drug deals and human trafficking. There are 4 times more COVID cases. Remember, I'm going to get rid of COVID. I'm going to get rid of COVID. 4 times more cases than ever before. Today, the hospital set a record, brand new record. Our beautiful, strong southern border from 1 year ago, it was all set, it was all finished, it was beautiful. We had the best numbers we've ever had at the southern border, and that includes drugs coming into our country. We cut it down to a number that nobody thought was possible. And now it's up 7 times more than it was a year ago. Think of it, 7 times more. Our border's been abolished and illegal aliens are pouring into our country by the millions and millions and millions, and we don't even know where the hell they're coming from. We know nothing about it, but you're going to pay a big price. Biden has utterly humiliated our nation on the world stage. Putin is not only threatening Ukraine, I don't know if you've been reading about this, but now he's threatening to go into Cuba and...
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. That was President Trump at his Arizona rally last week. Awesome rally. Wish I was there. Heard the turnout was pretty damn impressive. But everything that President Trump said about Biden is true. He warned us about the Biden administration, that we were going to go into basically a dark spell here in America under his presidency. Biden was going to get us in crisis after crisis after crisis, and look what we're seeing. You know, we're seeing crisis after crisis after crisis with this Biden administration. And lies, oh my God, lying about everything. Lying about job numbers, lying about COVID numbers. People are getting back to normal. No, people aren't getting back to normal. We're losing our normalcy under this president. People aren't going back to work. They're losing their jobs because of these vaccine mandates, which are ridiculously stupid. Now, Did anybody catch the latest of President Trump? Excuse me. Did anybody catch the latest of Biden? A tickle in my throat. Of Biden now saying that it's no excuse for being unvaccinated. And this is Biden saying this. That there's no excuses for being unvaccinated. No excuses? It's not an excuse, Joe. It's in our Constitution. We have choices for our public health. Not you, Joe. We have the choice, not you. It's not your choice. It's not your choice. It's our choice. I mean, what the hell does this guy not understand? I mean, it's not his. Listen to this.
Vaccinated in workplaces across America, including here at the White House. But if you're vaccinated and boosted, you are highly protected. You know, we've reduced the number of American adults without any shots from 90 million to about 35 million in the past 6 months. But there's still 35 million people not vaccinated. And let me be absolutely clear. We have in hand all the vaccines we need to get every American fully vaccinated, including the booster shot. So there's no excuse for anyone being unvaccinated. This continues to be a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Guys, why are they pushing this crap? There's no excuses. It's not about a fucking excuse, you simple-minded retard. It's about what we want for our personal lives, not you. You don't dictate what we want. But Joe Biden literally still urging people to get vaccinated. Saying that the vaccines, the booster shots, have mitigated the danger for overwhelming majority of Americans who are fully vaccinated. The president was speaking ahead of a meeting with his COVID-19 response team at the White House about the impact of the Omicron variant. And another thing with these variants, where do you think they're coming from? Are they questioning the illegals that are pouring in by the thousands? Are they questioning them? They should. Maybe we should be screening them for diseases from their origins of countries of where they're coming from. Oh, but we're not allowed to do that because we would be considered racist, and that's un-American, according to, the far-fetched media of CNN and the rest of the liberal machine of this country. Now, we can't question them. That's out of the question. We're not allowed to do that. Folks, when the hell is this crap going to end? Excuses. It's not about excuses. It's about respecting people's personal choice, wishes, and beliefs. If not, what have we become as a country? I can tell you this, folks. This is the best. This is the ticker here. I'll never be vaccinated. I'll never get the jab. My rights, not his. And it's driving him to madness for people not wanting to get the jab. It's driving this president into madness. And I love it. I love it. I love seeing Americans literally doing what's best for them and not becoming the political sheep. And it's funny that some common sense doctors are telling you that Omicron is a mild cold. It's a mild cold. That's what it is, folks. Just a little sniffle. But the politicians, they know better. They know better. It's a mild variant. The variants are coming from the booster shots and from the vaccines. Well, at least what I think. We still don't know. I mean, we don't even know if these variants are, mutations from COVID-19 to begin with. Hell, it might be just manipulation from this administration. But it kind of sounds like Joe wants to put us in another lockdown. Did you notice, folks, he's going into almost like a, I've said earlier in the show, he's going into panic mode. Because with this president, folks, COVID will be here forever. Because that's what they want to do. They don't have a message. They don't have anything. I mean, right? This is what happens when you vote for simple-minded idiots that don't know what they're doing. Yeah. Simple-minded idiots that don't know what they're doing. But that's Dementia Joe for you. That's Dementia Joe. Also, too, let's quote some of the quotes that Joe Biden has said. This is 12 days before the 2020 election. Remember when he said this? Remember when he said this? 12 days before the 2020 election? That anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Well, let's see, Joe. You've been president for a year, and got a lot of blood on your hands from this, right? Yeah. Another one, October of 2020. I'm going to shut down the virus. That's what Joe Biden said, right? Ping on that one, yeah. He's going to shut down the virus. Here's another one. Quite recently, just less than 4 weeks away, on December 27th, 2021. Look, there's no federal solution. This gets solved at the state level. Now he's agreeing with state officials, governors and mayors, that they don't have a federal solution on COVID. It gets solved at the state level. What? Yeah. I've been saying that since the get-go. You know, folks, now I'm convinced not to get the jab. After hearing all this crap, all this bull crap about COVID. The lockdowns didn't work, which I think we're going to see another scenario. I think that's where Joe's going. He's going into that saga, that full-blown saga of desperation mode. And this part is going to be dangerous, folks. It's going to be really, really bad. I mean, if you thought the first lockdowns were bad, with the restaurant closing and just everything, right? This is going to be really bad. And I can definitely see a dark path. Like I said, I have a few predictions of what's going to happen. And I'll say them on the show later on the episode. But this next set of lockdowns, which I think they're gonna propose, because they can't get people to get the jab, and they're gonna do whatever they can do for the unvaccinated. They're gonna do something, and it's gonna be really, really bad, and it's gonna be unconstitutional. Guys, be prepared for this radical type of government. Okay, because they have a plan up their sleeves, and it's not a good one, folks. With more being said, folks, I want to get into these topics. I want to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. This is Michael Gardner, Patriot Angle Podcast. Be right back after these words.
Michael Gardner, a host like no other. Unfiltered, unhinged, unscripted, raw.
Leave our businesses alone. Leave all of us the hell alone. Tell Joe Biden the Americans' health choices are none of his business. We can make our own choices.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, President Trump, 110%. It's not Joe Biden's decision. It's not Dr. Fauci's decision. It's not anyone in the federal government decision on our health choice. It's our decision. We don't want to put a fucking mask on our face. We shouldn't have to worry about putting a fucking mask on our face. If we don't want to get the jab, we shouldn't have to worry about getting the jab in order to keep our jobs, in order to partake in sporting events, in order to go to that nice restaurant with our families. This is America, folks. Again, it's not a third world nation. This president is literally turning it into one. This has to stop. This has to stop. I warned and predicted in other podcast episodes that if they couldn't get the still, I think it's like 25, maybe 35 million of us that are still unvaccinated, if they cannot get the rest of the country vaccinated, they were going to try another attempt. Are they going to do another lockdown? Possibly. Are they going to try to threaten to take more liberties and freedoms away from us? I mean, hell, our First Amendment rights are basically being sabotaged. Seriously. If you don't think your First Amendment is literally on the line here, I'm sorry, folks. Go out to reality and see what's really going on. Because wearing a mask to go into an establishment, you don't think that's silencing your First Amendment rights? Oh, it is, folks. It is. So are they going to try to do that? I think they're going to make an attempt. I think you're going to see that right before the midterms. Right before we get to the midterms, they're going to try to do something drastic. And like I keep on saying to my listeners and followers here on the Patriot Angle podcast, just be prepared. Be prepared. Use your American voices. Be heard. And don't be silenced, folks. Don't let the radical left dictate your lives. It's not right. It's not right. More here on the podcast here. More on the Ron Paul with Fauci. The guys, they've been battling with each other on the Hill for like months with this whole COVID thing. Ron Paul, again, labeling Dr. Fauci as you're arrogant, not objective. Ron Paul ripping Fauci for telling Americans what to do and how to live their lives. Check this out, guys. This is a video here that I'm about to plug in. About a couple days old here. Here, check this out.
Dr. Fauci, it's disappointing for you to suggest that people who dare to question you are responsible somehow for violent threats. Realize that by attacking me, you're attacking the one member who actually has suffered from violent attacks. I was at the ball field today. Steve Scalise almost died. I was 10 feet away from a staffer who was shot in the leg. We had over 160 rounds of semi-automatic weapons fired at us, ammunition. So for you to somehow suggest that somehow I or people who dare to oppose you are responsible for threats, that's insulting. The person who shot at us and almost killed Steve Scalise was a rabid supporter of Bernie Sanders. But the one thing you'll find if you look at the record is that not one of us accused Bernie Sanders of being responsible for that. So this is the kind of ignorant sort of personal attacks that you've engaged in. You engaged in these attacks with fellow scientists. Not only was it 3 scientists from Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford that you chose to malign, 50,000 scientists and medical doctors signed this petition.
Yeah, folks, this was another committee hearing just earlier today during a Senate Health, Education, and Labor and Pensions hearing to examine a federal perspective on the COVID-19 response, focusing on addressing the new so-called variants. And like I said, they've been going back and forth with this whole thing, folks, for months. Literally months. But now you're going to hear, I'll plug in a little bit more of this video, that Fauci now is getting irritated, but never explains how Ron Paul is wrong or misrepresenting things. As you'll notice how his response is just to deny it and call it misinformation. It's like a child saying they didn't draw on the walls when they had the marker in their hands and all over the fingers, right? I mean, this is what's going on here in the federal government, folks. I mean, literally. This is what's literally going on in the federal government. Listen to more of this.
I will use one time of my remaining 5 minutes to allow Senator Fauci to respond.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Fauci,
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Murray.
No.
So, first of all, Senator, again, at a hearing such as this, where there are almost 900,000 people in this country have died from this outbreak, you have chosen to just personal attacks on me that go back to multiple hearings. And again, just for the record for people to check, I have never said take people down in that email. It was an email that was sent to me. See, and again,
You agreed with Dr. Collins in the email.
Senator Paul, this is my time.
You know, you personally attacked me, and the things that you do are incorrect and proven incorrect. You've publicly accused me at a hearing of being responsible for the death of 5 million people, when there is not a single shred of evidence that anything that was done with the NIH had anything to do with COVID-19. You talk about things like gain of function.
Dr. Fauci, I'm going to let you respond continually, but I think you have responded, and I appreciate.
Okay, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. But I just want to say, I'm actually stunned by the amount of misinformation. The only thing I have ever done, and this will take 20 seconds, if you look at the things I've said, they've been to support the recommendations of the CDC, of their advisory committees, and of the FDA. I've told people that it's important to get vaccinated, to get boosted, to wear a mask, and to be prudent. That's the only thing I've said. I haven't.
Guys, he's saying on the record here, okay, during a committee hearing, that he doesn't think he's responsible for 5 million deaths here in America. Anybody who is okay with what he did to those beagles, remember the beagle story, the dogs? They should be fired and prosecuted. I can't believe that his wife is the ethics decider for where he works. Remember that story? I mean, literally. It's like the Carmack boomerang seems to be really coming back, backfiring on this whole pandemic. He and his genocidal globious buddies started. That's what this is, folks. It's a plandemic. Not a pandemic. Planned demic. It was all planned out. I mean, the story with the dogs. He killed many beagle dogs by introducing the beagle head into a glass cage and then poured sand fleas in to see how long it would take. Literally, how long it would take for the dogs to die. He had the dogs' vertical cords cut so the dogs whining and crying did not disturb him and his workers. And these tests were for no medical study other than him wanting to know. Folks, I saw it on video with Fauci slamming the little dogs around. This guy, folks, is a real piece of shit. He's a fucking murderer and he belongs in prison. I've also seen the photos of Fauci doing the work. Folks, this needs to be spread around. Because this guy goes back further than this pandemic. This goes back to the 80s with the freaking the AIDS epidemic. This guy is not, he's not Prince Charming, guys. This guy is in my eyes a murderer, and he belongs in jail. But I would also like to thank Ron Paul for standing up for cardiologists and other branches of medicine not corrupted by politics. Those are the real heroes, the real doctors of medicine, not these political hacks such as Anthony Fauci. Everything that this guy says, literally says, is a freaking lie. A damn lie. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a little heated up. But in closing, guys, I'm going to say this one thing. That Fauci lost all credibility when he declared himself to be the science. Remember that, folks? Remember that. Because this crap needs to end. It needs to end like yesterday. And if we go into another lockdown, I'm telling you right now, the lockdown will be coming after the unvaccinated. You're going to see it, folks. Thank you for tuning into today's show. And remember, you can hear me on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you hear a podcast. Thanks a lot, guys. Patriot Unfiltered Raw.
You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle Podcast, an Anchor platform.